The third subsection of this larger whole focuses on goals 4 and 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Goal 4 pertains to inclusive and equitable education for all and lifelong learning. And Goal 5 specifically deals with gender equality. So the section now explores case studies of how governments and civil society have used ICTs to address education and improve quality and empower women and girls. Within education, in most developing countries, there are 4 key issues. One is access, increasing the number of people who have access to formal school, high school, and university level education. Equity, providing such inclusion and such access in such a way that marginalized communities, including girls, get a better benefit. Quality, ensuring that the quality of material, whether it is in the city or in a remote rural location, remains the same for both urban and rural locations, for colleges, schools, etc. And all of these have to be achieved based on limited resources. And that is where ICTs play a role to provide access and equity. Some examples. There are open schools in the Asia Pacific, in Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Philippines. And these open schools provide, through distance education, opportunities for young people who have dropped out of school or who are not in school to get the education they need via the internet, and also to write for the same exams. Also, universities such as the universities of the South Pacific do their entire teaching through the distant communities of South Pacific through ICTs. They started with simple shortwave radio, progressed to television, progressed to satellites, and now are on a web-based learning mode. One can also provide very good quality of materials through web-based resources. For example, buying available published materials can be very expensive for a poor country or for a poor university, which will not spend hundreds of dollars on a single textbook. However, if materials are available as open educational resources or as what we call massive open online courseware, these materials of uniform quality provide valuable supplement as teaching resources both for students and for teachers. Similarly, tools such as video conferencing can be used to upskill and train teachers in all of the countries. When we look at use of ICTs to address limited resources, among the examples that stands out is the University of the Pacific. A consortium of 11 countries set up the university, serving an area covered by 6 million square miles of water. The University of the Pacific, as I mentioned earlier, provides distance education of very high quality to the students of these countries, irrespective of where they are. Another effort that is underway is the creation of online resources, basically MOOCs or massive online courses or open educational resources, which are shared among universities of the Commonwealth. And this initiative is called the Virtual University of the Small States of the Commonwealth. Then when we begin to turn our attention and look at what are the specific issues that women and girls face, in this part of the world, there are several. Illiteracy, lack of education, lack of awareness, poverty, lack of time, low confidence, self-esteem, socio-cultural norms that prevent women and girls from moving about, access, content relevance, and availability and usage. So can ICTs benefit women and girls? Yes, they can benefit women and girls directly when women exploit the technologies to improve their own status, and when indirectly when ICTs are used to improve delivery of information and services to women. I have in the module listed 5 or 6 examples of how women have used ICTs to improve their own life conditions. One of these is Mahiti Mantana near Mysore, India. Another is the Info Lady example from Bangladesh. Third is the Likhan in the Philippines. The fourth is an e-homemakers Malaysia, which is targeted toward an e-commerce portal and income generation activities, particularly for middle-class educated women, and Shirkat Ga, which provides vital information on healthcare and other informal news to women and girls in Pakistan. Do look at the cases that are described in detail in the module. There is another dimension to the link between women and ICTs, and that is the presence of women in the IT workforce. Today, data show that nearly 50% of the IT workforce consists of young women. However, these women seem to remain at entry levels only, that is, at the first level in a job, and they seem to drop out of the job within a few years. In order to retain them and to train them, ITU has suggested that there is a need to provide mid-career training and promotion for young women so that the senior management can be filled by more women. And what we can also do then is that making sponsorship programs, the percentage of women in the IT workforce will increase at senior management levels, something that is not happening today. Also within this broad area of livelihoods, education, gender, are issues relating to vulnerable communities, the youth, and the disabled. Today, the youth population has swelled to an unprecedented 1.8 billion people. In many countries, 50% of the population are the young below the ages of 30. At the same time, nearly 1 billion persons in the world also live with some disability, and nearly 80% of this 1 billion, that is 800 million, live in the developing world, a large proportion of which is in the Asia Pacific. There are very few initiatives that focus exclusively on disabled youth. One initiative that I found that I would suggest that you would look at is Youth for Jobs, which is Youth for Jobs is an NGO which provides training and capacity building and then placement in mainstream industry and service sectors for disabled youth. When it comes to Indigenous, displaced, and migrant communities, while there is no real definition, what we do know that there are a large number of tribes and indigenous communities all over the world. Most of them are outside the mainstream of a country's life. Look around you in your own country and try to define who these tribes are, and look for a service that provides an ICT-based solution for them. One service that I have described in the module is CG Net Swara in India, which uses the mobile phone to receive complaints, grievances from tribals, communicates these to the authorities, and in return informs the aggrieved person of the action that has been taken. There are other instances. For example, when displaced as a result of war or flood, people are desperately in need of assistance. Oxfam and Visa prepaid cards in the Philippines provide such assistance to people affected by the typhoons, which are a common occurrence in Philippines. Migrants are also people on the move, internally within a country or outside the country as diaspora communities. Think of your own country and the number of people who are working elsewhere in the world to provide a livelihood for their families back home. They send home remittances. What has been found is, from a study conducted in Asia, is that migrants use ICTs for financial transactions and remittances and share information and experiences or a call for help. In earlier times, money would be sent along with a friend to be given to a parent or a sibling. Now it is done through mobile money transfer. At the same time, a study conducted among Indonesian domestic servants in Singapore showed that for the domestic worker, the mobile phone provides a measure of independence and privacy in communication. To summarize this section briefly, ICT's impact on education is second only to its impact on business. Open schools, school networks are using ICTs to connect and to benefit. Open educational resources and massive open online courseware are being used extensively to improve the quality of content that students receive. When technology is placed in women's hands, women are able to improve their economic, social, and political status in a community. And women use technology not just to learn and have a voice, but also to create women-friendly spaces. Diaspora and migrant communities use ICTs for mobile money transfer and also to keep in touch with families. ICTs can also be used by the disabled in order to find income-generating activities.